Thank you so much for tuning into the Woman to Woman podcast, a conversation for women like you, smart, successful, curious, and interested in being your best self. Join both Sarah and I as we discuss topics that women our age are actually interested in, with both of us being candid and often having differing views.
As coaches, we sprinkle in advice and tips, along with humor and vulnerability. We hope you feel like a fly on the wall with two friends. Let's entertain and inform you and welcome you into our friendship.
We appreciate you pressing play and spending some time with us, wherever you are in the world.
Let the magic happen. So, in this episode, Angela and myself are sharing a crucial information about our menstrual cycle and how important it is to embrace every phase of it. We are expressing how our life changed the moment we are starting to recognize each phase of a woman's cycle. So we end also this episode with some tips on contraception that exist, that we are aware of, and only if you are interested in. It's a deep conversation, sometimes a little bit explicit, but so much necessary in order to understand how important it is to acknowledge the power of our cycle. I really hope that you're going to enjoy this episode, and I see you soon.
How's it going, Sarah?
I'm good, thank you. I just had a weekend where I needed to rest actually, because I have been reading few books about, how to understand the power of our menstrual cycle, and I had that actually happening for me last Sunday, so I just decided not to push anything and just to rest. And I watched like maybe 3 movies on Netflix on that day. But it was a good rest and it was really feeling good to do it. So I'm not sure if you do that as well for yourself.
I do. So I was lucky enough I had a health coach like for about 3 or 4 months over summer last year. And she's the one who introduced me to even eating. So eating, exercising, rest, and just living in sync with our cycle. Because did you know that that men's bodies live on a 24-hour cycle and a woman's body goes through a 30-day cycle or 28-day cycle? And so actually today's world is, well, we already know it's a man's world, but it is legitimately built off the energy cycles of a man. And I feel like, wow, I am super old to have come to this, do you know what I mean? In my 40s, but I'm sorry, I've learned about it. And in terms of resting and exercise and even some of my food, I definitely follow my cycles, particularly, my ovulation and when I'm high, in my summer period, and particularly in my autumn. I really fall down and lose quite a bit of energy in the week before I'm going to get my period. So I really follow those two. But what I haven't managed to do is to schedule my business around it, and my working life. But I can go into more detail. But what do you actually use that knowledge for now?
And so actually I love that. So I analyzed my previous cycle because I was having some key date that I could remember well, and then I was looking at it where it falls on my menstrual cycle, and actually it was mind-blowing to know that that your intuition is really higher at the, I think it's that at the follicular and the ovulation. So at the very beginning, it's like your creativity, your intuition, it's really heightened. It's magical. And then after that, there is this phase where you need to you get things done. And the same as last week actually was my week of I felt that this week would never end. It would never end. It was like I had too much work to do for my business. I had too much work to do for my work, and plus the kids, plus the move that I'm currently organizing to move next week. And I was complaining all week that, you know, morning and evening I would send a text and say, oh my god. And I have been delayed on top of that for 2 days, probably, I don't know to what reason, because my cycle is low. It's my cycle is low. I mean, it's less than 28 days, so I have a cycle of 24 days for now. Maybe it's gonna extend, I don't know, but that's the thing, is definitely so this is how I analyzed my previous cycle, and then now that was the actual one that I just ended, so the second one, and I could feel exactly all again, you know, all the same symptom. Not they are bad symptoms, you know, having a high creativity, it's pretty good. But now, you know, the idea is really how will I get my next cycle, you know, to match this, you know, to match the type of energy that come through, to do my stuff the way that I should be doing it. Will I implement it directly with my business? No, maybe not. I just need first to understand my body, what I feel, how I am, you know, my way of meditation as well. It's completely affected by my cycle. Yes, I can definitely focus and be present more easily for the first 2 weeks of my cycle, but then after that, the third week I'm still, but the last week is just like I can't. I'm tired all the time. I fall asleep easily because now I meditate on the evening, so it's just like, okay, not even trying. I take some rest. I do some, you know, listening, but I'm not meditating as per se. I will relax, but not meditating. But this is how I do, and I felt that was brilliant when I found this out. You know, it's brilliant. It's so helpful, you know, to understand what you can achieve and why you do achieve, you know, so much more in a period of the month. You know, it's not big. I mean, the planet may be affected as well, but that's another discussion. But still, you know, it's your own cycle is definitely here to guide you, and I love it. Tell me more about you. What's the power that you found in this one?
Okay, so with my intuition, this is actually something that I really need to work on. I'm not intimately familiar with my own creativity and intuitive patterns, so that seems like that's more what you've used it for. I'm going to link the coach that I used. Actually, she was excellent on this, and she taught me so much. And she actually said that you are more creative and intuitive during your luteal and menstrual phase, I think. So that I haven't really caught on to. It's more the energy. So I'm a projector. I'm already, you know, I have less energy than the general population. So for me, trying to harness and use my energy, you know, in the optimal way is really important for me. And for anyone listening, and I think it's the same, I mean, it's the same for everyone, is around the ovulation stage is when you can just pack your day full. I actually feel like a manifesting generator on 2 or 3 of those days, you know, from morning till night. I'm going, and I'm like, cool, I'm killing it. Why can't I be like this every day? And then I'm in my luteal, you know, autumn phase before I go into my winter now. And I'm more tired during the week before my period than during, because I've got a very short period. And it's just been really, really useful. And also, I mean, I guess talking about, you know, how productive I am during those ovulation days, I can have more self-compassion for myself, you know, because before I'd have those power days or that power week, and then I'd feel bad coming to the next week, like, why can't I get up early? You know, why can't I have my entire life ready by 9 a.m., you know, like I did on those other days? And yeah, I can have compassion for the cycle of how my life goes, because I don't know about you, but until after I had a baby, I didn't even track my cycle. I didn't. Now I can live by it. Now I know. And as we were talking before, you know, I always I'm now regular. I actually think as I've gotten older, I've become more regular, which is another discussion. I don't know why. I've always had an incredibly short period. And so, yeah, thanks for that. And what was I going to say? Yeah, so now I'm very regular and I can map my, my time on it. And I didn't know, like, I really think this is something we need to teach our daughters and just talk about, and around my family, my dad, the men in my life, I'm like, I got my period. So that's just, with my son, that's just a normal word now. And I'm going to say it here and everywhere. Like there's nothing to hide about that. And a lot of people don't use these words. Like that's what it's called. That's what I'm having. I go through this every month and you're all going to know about it. So, but what I did want to say, you said you were late last month, and I don't want to start a super controversial topic, but so was I. And there's apparently a very common phenomenon and reason for this is the COVID vaccine has got like over 70% of women's periods are being affected by it. When you have yes, have you not heard about this? No. So look it up, or if anyone's listening, and if you choose to vaccinate, which I didn't really want to, but we have to. So if you choose to, this might be a site. Well, it's not might be. It's 100%. Like for 70% of women, their periods are either coming heavier than normal, coming late, coming early. My sister-in-law, hers came heavier, like hers was affected. So that's a possibility in this climate at the moment.
All right, interesting. So I've always been very regular. So I've been always lucky, and I am a lucky person for that because my period never gave me pain. Maybe sometimes the few first time that I got them, but and the thing is that I live in an environment with us. This has never been shamed. This has never been shamed. So it's always very welcome in my family, but not like we don't celebrate and make a huge party. Even though I think that's what I'm gonna do for my girl, because we all know that this is when a girl is having a period that she's becoming a woman. Even though we know this generation comes to get earlier and earlier and earlier, but still, it's still something that needs to be celebrated and definitely not shamed. My boys and my girl see me having my period, and I explain them. Not that I justify my attitude with it. I'm trying not to, though. But still, I'm trying. When I'm really tired, I tell them, Mama is bleeding, so I need to rest. So please help me with this or that. And they would happily do it. But the thing is that for my cycle, so I'm vaccinated, and I didn't feel that. Probably you're right. I was just under the impression that it was much more spiritual related, because we won't talk about this because we have checked our information before that podcast and we are not aligned. So we're going to do our research first. But I was much more thinking that, because now I'm aware of my cycle, and there is no normal cycle that lasts 28 days or 21. Before that, my cycle was 21 days before I'm having kids. And yes, I was regulating it with pills. But when I started having my second child, actually, yes, this is where I started really to track my periods, because when you start being a mom, and every time that you go for the checkup after the birth or thing, your doctor is going to ask you, what's the first day of your period? And you're like, fuck. So if you don't take notes of when it is, when you don't track it, at least that date, which is the most important, then definitely you're going to miss out, your entire cycle, which is very helpful if you want to conceive as well. But I started doing this, and I didn't want to go back on pills. I was saying no, why I should put drugs on my body, where for him, he can just go and quick it up and then that's it, Of course, he didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go on drugs. And even though I was calculating it very mathematically, I still ended up being pregnant with my girl. So out of the normal cycle. So, you never know what is going on anyway. But once you start being attuned to it, I think it's even easier to control that. But yes, I'm
Yeah.
starting following that. And I was more thinking that I got delay because now I was starting being aware of that cycle. So I was starting acknowledging it like it's part of me. And it gives me, the power, like it's described in those books that I love, that they describe it like it's your power. Because once you acknowledge it, once you're conscious about that this is happening, yes, you have more compassion for yourself, but also, you listen. It means that you listen to your body also more, and which is a gift, because your body is telling you so many stuff at the end of the day. But we don't teach people how to listen to their body, only when they have a pain. But I'm painless. Does that mean that my body does not tell me anything? No. But it's very difficult when we have not been used to listen to our body. So I was just thinking that I was started to sync, with the moon eventually, because normally menstrual cycle, people will say that it syncs with the moon. However, if you Google it, because I did, you're going to find out that they did research on women and they found out that there's no relation between the moon and the menstrual cycle, which I tend to disagree.
So do I.
And it's explained in one of the books that I read. It's explained that actually we are not meant to live inside. So the more that you're living outside and connecting with the nature, then the more you're going to be in sync as well with what the environment is providing you. So anyway, I was just considering that my 2 days delay was not, I didn't know that it could come from the vaccine, but I was just more, okay, I had a 24-day cycle. Maybe, now that I'm acknowledging it, that I know that it's there and I'm taking care of it the same way it's taking care of me, then I would move slowly to a 28-day cycle. Only the future it's going to tell us that. I don't know.
So you're wanting a longer cycle?
Oh, yes.
So
20
is that so you have your period less, or
20, so I have a short period as well. It's like 3 days only, so it's good. But it's just that when you have a 21-day cycle, it's very short. It's very short. You have that feeling like you're feeling that you're wearing, diapers all the time, or it's just like, no, you can't really enjoy it that much. So, I mean, if it's postponed for a week, it gives me more and more week to be creative, to be intuitive, to be, to give me some times to relax, and I just not, going over and over and over and over and over and over.
So I never took the pill because I'm too forgetful to take something every day. So do you think that's messed with your cycle? Because it's naturally supposed to be every 4 weeks. Like what do you attribute?
I would say that no, because before you take the pill, they ask you what's your cycle. So which means that when I was young and I started taking the pills because I started early, that's a different story. They ask you what's your cycle, and then of course you try to reproduce, and then my cycle already was 21 days, and so they give me the pills for 21 days, not for 28. And then after that I have to tell, I spent 10 years taking the pills, if not more. I think slightly longer than 10 years. And I don't know what to say, but it's like, I know my body can easily produce babies. Like I don't need, I only stopped the pills like for 8 months and then I got pregnant. And I didn't really struggle despite the whole year where I was messing up with my body with taking the pills. But after that pregnancy, I did not go back to that anyway. So
And why not? I want to ask you, why did you, like, if you want to share, take the pill for so long and then be like, hey, I don't want drugs in my body?
Because having the first kids is where you start being conscious about your body. Because as a woman, we are we are creating, human being, So you get a consciousness that your body is actually more than just serving you. You know, it's more than that. You really need to be in peace with it. So unconsciously I said, no, I don't want pills anymore. However, after the first one, what happened is that I knew I wanted a second child. I just didn't know when, but I didn't want to go and then, wait another 8 months, So I just decided not to take it, and we were very cautious about that. And then by the way, a year after, 18 months after, I said to the, okay, I think that now it's time, because I'm not working, so it's better to have 2 kids now while I'm not working, so I can be with them both. And luckily, the universe hear me or whatever. I'm very super productive. It took us only 1 shot to get pregnant. So it's just like, I order it. It's just like, I can order it. I can order it.
1 child, please.
1 child, ovulation. Now it's the time. Let's go. And this is how it happens for me. So I got pregnant for the second one. And after that, it was after the second one, which I was sure I would stop after 2, that I said, no, I don't want to put my body under drugs anymore. I know this is chemicals. I know. And I became more attuned as well, because my son was having, skin issues, rashes, which is for a different conversation. But I was really conscious about, like, okay, now it's time also to take care of ourselves, because we don't know what they put in the food, and we keep eating that food. Even if you buy organic, sometimes I doubt that organic, when they give you a size, the pumpkins, the size of the pumpkin is so big, and you said, yes, it's organic, and you're like, really? Anyway, and you never know. We spoil our earth, and the soil, for so many years, that you don't know how the chemicals travel in the ground, underground. So anyway, that's a completely different topic, but I just didn't want to go back to the pill.
So maybe, and it's up to you, just quickly we can touch on different, what's that called? What's it called when you don't want to have a baby? Not menstruation. I've just lost my words.
Menopause?
No. What you take to not have a baby. What's it called?
Pills? Yeah,
but what's the word for that called? Oh my God, I've just lost it.
The medical words for that, or don't ask me, I'm not an English speaker.
Yeah, okay. Okay, guys. So what are the contraception? Oh my God.
Okay. No. This one is the same word in French.
Methods.
Contraception. Yeah.
No, contraceptives. That's it. Oh my God. What kind of contraceptives have you tried other than the pill? Or have you tried any?
So I did try. So my early age, I was on the pill, and I was not forgetful, so that's fine. I could take it. But then after that, they came out. I don't know if it's available everywhere, but in France, they came out with a ring that you insert in your vagina, and then you leave it there. So you don't even need to think about. And that was very good. My one of my best friends in France, she is flight attendant, and that was perfect for her, because the ring was releasing. So with the time. The time difference between the country that she was traveling, that was beautiful. She didn't even think about it. And I used that for quite a long, because it was extremely convenient. But I always needed to put a reminder when to take it out. And that's all I used. Then after that, now I'm using the coil. So now I'm using the coil. I was very, what is it, right? I see...
The Marina. Is it the Marina?
What is the Marina? Marina is the brand, right?
Marina is the coil. Or you can have the copper one.
The copper one. So I'm using the copper one. Because there were 2 types. I mean, from what my doctor is saying, is that there are 2 types. You have the classic copper one, and there is the other one, which releases as well hormones to control your bleeding. And I was like, no, I don't want to control it anymore, and I don't want hormones. So I went for the copper. The copper one, I'm lucky. I think that I'm responding quite well to it. But my mom apparently would have not responded that well to the copper coil. And my sister apparently as well had some side effect with it. So my sister had psoriasis after she inserted the copper coil. My mom was a different disease, which she thinks that it's coming from the coil itself. Maybe it is. Um, Maybe it's something else as well. She had a reaction for a disease that we never knew the word of that disease, by the way, but she got healed anyway. But not only after when she removed the coil. So for me, it's been 2 years now, 3 years, 3 years that I have it now, and I feel good about it. So this is what I'm using right now.
Okay. So for me, I never really wanted to use something hormone based, and I also definitely couldn't do anything every single day. So I got married really early. So not that I wanted a baby, but we just used like, you know, our own method as well as tracking. And like pulling out. So that was my only contraception when I was younger. And then when I wanted to have a baby, because I wasn't using anything, we just tried. And after about 6 months, it didn't happen straight away. And then I was like, what's happening? And they're like, well, it doesn't happen straight away because you weren't doing anything, and I never had any accidents. And then so not long after, like maybe 6 or 8 months after, I got pregnant. So that was fine. And then what I found really interesting about having a baby was the first thing my doctor was talking to me about was contraception. Like, so you can like super get pregnant now. So the first thing they're like contraception. And I was like, oh, okay, yep, no, well, I don't want any more kids. So set me up with that. And I really, I'd love to talk about hormones one day. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that I want to hang on to my own natural hormones as much as possible. So I also did not want the Mirena. That's the hormone-based coil. So I also got the copper, which I thought I reacted to perfectly. I got the 5-year one. I think, is there 3 years and 5 years?
Yeah, I got the 5 years one as well.
Yep, I got the 5 years one. And actually, then so since the 5-year one, all I'm doing now is again tracking my cycle and just praying for the best. A lot of my theory in life is like, you know, mind over matter. Just pray for the best and you'll be fine. That's kind of what happened pre-baby and a little bit post-baby or now. So I'm hoping everything's okay and I don't get pregnant again. But yes, but however, I will tell you, I thought I was great with the copper coil. But I actually started reading things and I had a little bit of weight gain towards the end. And then I, you know, because as you said, put perfectly, which I hadn't thought of, after my pregnancy, I became really involved in my body, you know, and as you are in the personal development and wellness industry and realizing how everything affects everything, you know, I'm super into all of that stuff now. I was always concerned about hormones, but so I got the copper one, but then I started, you know, heavy metals in your body is actually not a great thing if you start looking into it. And I can't remember who, but someone also had side effects. And I never freak out health-wise, but I started freaking out and wanted mine taken out. And then I was concerned because I really didn't want to have another baby. And I was probably, you know, in my late 30s, and I just imagined I'd get pregnant quite easily. And yeah, so I got quite worried about it actually, and I took it out and I haven't been using anything since then. But what I wanted to ask you was the ring. That's hormone based as well, isn't it?
It is completely.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
It is.
And there's not much. I think there is something you can put in your arm, which is probably similar to the ring, but I think that has some. Yeah, there's not much. There's only tracking the
pill.
What else is there?
The pill, the stick, the ring, and the coil.
What about the pill? Oh, the mini pill. I looked at the mini pill because that's only progesterone, but they're still hormone based.
It's still hormone based. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
No, I didn't want to do that either.
I agree with the copper coil. So as my mom and my sister got problem with that. I mean, they assumed that was the problem, which has not been confirmed by any doctor. I mean, for my sister, a little bit more though, because when she took it out, then it started getting much better. So we suspect that still it was affecting her body. But the thing is that for me, so I was freaking out a little bit because I knew that eventually, if my mom and my sister got it, I may potentially have something as well, you know, a side effect. And actually, I was like, okay, but no, I really need that because I mean, I don't want to have hormones. And I say, okay, a little bit of copper, it's fine. Even Indian, you know,
Yeah.
they are drinking, they are letting the water, you know, for 24 hours in copper jar, and then they drink the water. So copper is not always that bad for the body. And so I didn't want to reject the coil because of it's a freedom, and I know that if I take it out, just need one shot and I'm pregnant again. Even though I want a fourth kid, my husband is not yet ready for that. So the thing is that I respect that as well, and financially it costs as well for us. So I mean, for anybody. So the thing is that when I decided to go for the coil, then I wanted my body to accept it easily, you know, because you know you can also your body can reject it as well. So I went to my acupuncturist, and then I say, make something so my body welcome well, you know, the coil, and I can be worry free for that period. And he say, okay, no problem. And then he did boom, 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 and I never had any. So far, I didn't have any problem with it.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think something just got in my head and I went on like a bit of a fear spiral, which is very unusual for me. But I was like, I want it to be gone. But I did it for 5 years. And I think my 5 year was up, and I said that to my doctor, and he was like, oh, if you haven't had any problems. So I think I went a bit longer instead, or actually my memory's crap, or I may have got a new one and then freaked out and taken it out. I can't remember which way. But anyway, now I have nothing.
That's the key point, is that when you rely only on a one source of information, then suddenly your mind can start freaking out, and then it gonna becomes your new reality if someone did that. And I had to resist, you know, the fact that my mom and my sister got affected by it, and still I wanted to have it because it's a freedom for me, because otherwise I can
That's
be
it.
pregnant
Yeah.
easily. So the thing is that I was just like, okay, no, let's just give a try. And I really forced my mind not to think about the side effect that they had, and just go for it. And if I'm attuned to my body, if I really listen to it, because I have to admit, my sister and my mom, they are not the kind of person who are gonna do this kind of stuff, you know, listening to their body, going on a personal development journey, looking at their own patterns. Even if I try with my mom, she's like, I don't want to know, and I don't care. I don't care if I die without knowing my patterns. I'm fine. You know, I've always been happy like this. Why you want to change me? And I'm like, okay, fine, no problem. So there are people
That's a
that
great
you don't
attitude
want.
too, though. Yeah, those
Oh,
people can be really happy too.
she is, and the thing is that they're not listening to their body, and I'm just hoping that I know now I have the tools to know to really sink in my body and see if there is anything wrong, or if my body is telling me that something's wrong, you know. So yeah, I think that's what I'm using now, and I will keep using.
I want to quickly mention something that I learned from my coach as well, and to see how it goes with you. So, do you ever get PMS symptoms?
It's like you read in my mind, you know, because I was looking at the time, and I was like, oh, maybe we should stop there. But no, okay. So
Oh, sorry.
since you mentioned that, yes. So this is it's another funny story. So for many years I didn't have anything like this because I was under control because my pills, you know. So I was having, every time that I was about to have my period, I was having headache. I knew it was coming. So this was the moment that I was taking out either the ring or stop the pill. And I knew about this. I was just resting. It was all fine. But then after my pregnancies, everything was fine. I was having no pain, nothing. It was just coming and it was good. But my recently, so when I have, you know, early this year, all these shits and crap coming out in my life, and then I was not doing good, and I was not feeling good and stuff like that. Surprisingly, I started having, you know, symptoms, and my breast was hurting really, really, really bad. Very sensitive, very, swollen, until the day that I got my period. And I never had this kind of symptoms before, even that I thought the first time that I got pregnant, because when you got pregnant, then your breast is starting, become bigger and bigger and very sensitive, right? At the first, I thought that was that, but no, it wasn't. And then I was having pain, and when I was coached by my coach, I mentioned about that, and she said yes, because now you're listening to your body, now you're attuned to your body, and now your body is telling you something. So what does it tell you? So I truly believe that PMS are things that your body is trying to tell you that the subconscious is doing. And now for the last week, so it felt like endless, which normally I would have those symptoms, I did have very mild, and it lasts half a day only. I listen to one music, beautiful music. I listen to that music. I rest. I connect with the pain. I connected with the pain. And then the pain disappeared. And then I had a little bit heaviness on my womb. Again, I connect to the pain. And poof, 2 hours later, disappear without taking any medication. Do you have?
So I've never had bad, no. I've had on occasions, and the one thing that's fairly consistent for me is I have a little bit more need for sugar. And even in my diet now, I grapple on and off with sugar. I try to be refined sugar free, then I give in and blah, blah, blah. But I am generally quite generous with myself, maybe 3 days prior to my period, just giving into a little bit sweeter stuff. All about balance. And I don't know how true this is, but this is from someone trained, and my coach actually said, which is an important thing I want to say to ladies, which is PMS is actually 100% not natural. You do not have to suffer from PMS. And she was saying that it is 100%, not 100%, 90%. I believe in what you said, that some of it can be energetic, and we're energetically heavier at that time. And PMS is a real thing in terms of, they are premenstrual symptoms, but you don't have to have them, and you can help yourself. And she was saying it's really mostly lifestyle factors. And so she actually helped me change some of those lifestyle factors, mostly alcohol. Alcohol's a huge one. And she was saying, because I used to get the heavy and sore breasts, that one is about having too much estrogen in your body. And she's saying that, because when you burden your liver around the time of menstruation, that's where you will, I think the heavy womb that you were talking about, and occasionally the pains in the womb, I think that probably can't be helped. But the headache or even the sugar cravings, they are things that you can work on. So you can, if you are like out there suffer from really bad PMS, I just think having the information and the awareness that it's not just, oh, we're women, where I'm a woman and I'm PMSing, for example, that you can actually do something about it, because those symptoms, it does, I've never suffered heavily from them, but you do, it's better to change the lifestyle factors than take medication. Here in Australia, we have something called naproxenic, specifically for period pain problems. And if you have PCOS or there's another illness you can have around this, then that's probably, a factor in that. And actually, I think with PCOS, a lot of it is environmental factors as well. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I learned that, and actually my PMS symptoms have gotten way better with just some environmental changes. And even the sugar craving, she's like, just have beetroots, have pumpkin. And I'm doing those things, like a higher sugar carbohydrate. And there's always sort of a more holistic way you can deal with these things. And that was really news to me.
Yeah. So the thing is that what I changed for me when I started having PMS, it was definitely subconscious. It was really, that at that time I was not doing good. I was not good, and I know that the symptoms started with it without me noticing it. I mean, it was painful and stuff like that, but I was thinking, okay, fine, it's normal. Even though it did never happen to me before, never. So of course you start freaking out. You say, oh my God, I have something on my breast. I have something on my breast. So you start judging yourself, you know, to make sure that you have nothing. But yes, definitely, as I didn't get any much symptoms this month, I truly believe that because I did the inner work that I needed to do, and I am listening to my body now. I'm listening to what it's telling me, and I'm acknowledging it, and which is already a big piece of it. I'm sure I haven't done all the work yet, but I will continue to do that, because definitely my PMS this month was very light, and I loved it. So I know that yes, you can do something about it. You don't have to suffer from it. I think that was a nice conclusion, right?
Fantastic. That's all I wanted to say.
Perfect. I love that topic. Okay, so we wish you a very end of the day wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for listening to us.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it, and every time you listen, we truly appreciate it. And if you would like to follow me or learn more about my work or get in contact with me, please go to my website, which is angelajanecoaching.com.
And if you want to know more about my work, you can go on sarahmeng.com. All the details are going to be listed in a comment below. You can also follow us on social media, Instagram or Facebook, where we are sharing our daily tips.
Bye.
Hope to see you soon.